Yeah.
Do you want to talk through that process? Like who did it, what they did, what you supervised, what you checked?
Yeah. So I would have supervised the initial layout of the joist to make sure that everything is in order where it should go as per plans and the NCC. That would have taken probably a week.
Yep.
To do, just to oversee that before we moved on to shedding the floor.
So before you get there, have you dug?
Yep.
Because, I'm not a builder, Michael, so I can only write up what you explain. So, like, for example, on a house that's got a slab, so the guy, there's the site survey, then they do the excavation, they dig the footings, they insert the steel, get the inspection, do the concrete pour, then they so that's how...
So you just want like pretty much the full breakdown.
Yeah, because I'm not a builder, so I can only write what you explain. And that's the detail that they're wanting to see. So, for example, you go from site survey, then, after the site survey is done, you obviously do you have to dig anything out? Like, I understand there's no slab, so you said it's pier holes. So then we talk through that, what inspections, and then, what checks you're performing.
Okay, right, yeah. Okay, I just got to break it down really, 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 really break it down.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Just always cut corners when I speak and do things.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I think it might be just a bloke thing, I don't know.
No, it's okay. That's why I asked.
Yeah. No, sweet. So, going back to the initial set out, I would have organised an inspection after pier holes are dug to make sure that we have our depth and the right levels. Once then I can get that certified. Then we would have had an on-site welder come in after approval to weld the stumps, the galvanised stumps, to get ready for, to sort of install.
Yeah.
Upon that, we would have got everything checked on the set out, and we would have organised concrete. We would have checked on the general notes to check what strength and slump it had to be for the job.
Yep.
Then we would have had to make sure that we got our quantities and any type of engineering specifications to make sure that was all coordinated with. Then we would have poured, and then upon pouring, we would have made sure that we've domed all our posts to comply with the QVCC. And then we would have materials would have been ordered prior to a lead time to be on site, and so everything would have flowed. That would have been for particle board flooring, timber LVLs and joists, and timber framing for the first floor stage. Once delivered, we rectified the floor system, overseeing to make sure that joist hangers and everything was as per specifications. Then we would have, upon that, we would have laid the particle floor, and we would have screwed it down to stop any squeaking. And then we would have set out for the frame stage, and I would have overseen if the building was square and to make sure that everything was flowing to the direction the building should have been. Frames would have been stick frames, so everything was hand built. So having a set out was crucial to upon having, I guess, like prefab frames.
Yep. How were they fixed? The
they
frames?
Were just framed guns. That they were just framed, fixed. But upon that, lintels were, obviously we had to install our own lintels, so we had to make sure that we allowed the right measurements for the right opening and what goes where, for which windows and which openings, doors, etc., external. And sizing, steel beams for portal frames had to be organised through a steel fabricator and an on-site welder. I also organised to get a duct lift to site so we could move the steel around on the floor to install, which would have been much better because the crane just cost too much for a small job. So we just done it that way to make it quicker and easier for us. Once frames were stood and braced,
how were they braced, Michael?
They were braced just by using timber and ply bracing.
Yep.
And then just nailed off to the specifications to the NCC.
Yep.
Upon bracing and fixing, stage 2 would have been next floor system. All walls were built according to bracing walls, which had to be double top plated. I think it was, off my head, it was a 45 and a 35 mil MGP 12 90 mil frame. Once scaffolding was, in the meantime, getting erected at the same time, it was delivered and built and signed off. Then once the second floor got erected, particle board was once laid again, and back to set out in frame stage. I also had to oversee to make sure that the two-story was going in a straight line, so we made sure all our walls are plumb and square to the direction of build. Moving on, again, lintels through frame stage, had to make sure that we had the right lintels for the right weight for the openings and to carry out a number of jack studs that we needed to supply per opening. Then moving further on with bracing again, wall bracing. Once wall bracing was done, we moved on to truss stage.
Before we get that far, because that's in enclosed for the write-up, but so just still in the frame stage, did you have any rough-in for electrical?
Yeah, we started rough-in once the roof was on.
Okay, we can talk about that later then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
once
you can move on to truss and roof then, and then we'll talk about in the flow of when you did the rough-ins.
Yep. So, I like to do rough-in just when the roof's on. That way, if they go anything through the roof, if it rains, it doesn't matter if it gets wet.